Welcome back to the Automation Podcast and a very happy 2025 to you. My name is Shawn from Insights in Automation, or going on, we're just going to call it Insights. And this week on the show, we're going to take a look at what you chose as your most popular products or your products of choice in industrial automation. Now, before we get to that, a couple things. First of all, I am in discussions with several vendors to get them back on the show. Some new vendors, actually, mostly new vendors who have not been on, but we do have some favorites coming back on as well. And so not sure when those episodes will be recorded or released. December is typically a very slow time for us because everybody's thinking about the holidays and holiday parties and holiday gifts. So in any case, we'll be ramping back up here in January like we do every year. But as soon as I know more, I'll let you guys know. The second thing is, because this is not sponsored, right? Nobody's paying us to actually produce this. The video edition of this episode is for members only. I just updated all the members levels for 2025. I added a lower cost level, and you can see all those details at the automationblog.com/join. That actually doesn't force you to join. That is just a page with information on the memberships. And I try to mirror the YouTube because we do the memberships on YouTube and on the automationblog.com, but you can find all the information at the automationblog.com with links to sign up at either location. And I'm very excited that formerly the level 2, now level 3, we now have a new Discord server for both level 3 members at the Automation Blog and YouTube. Again, these would be level 2 members last year. I just renamed it. And the price stayed the same. Everything else stayed the same, except that we have a Discord server, and we're going to do a weekly hangout on Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern. That's the same time I'm in the office for the students. Hadn't had a lot of students showing up lately, so I'm like, we're just doing them together until we get so many people showing up that we have to separate them. So in any case, I want to use my time wisely, and I don't want to be sitting in 2 hours worth of silence during the week. So please come by and see us if you're a level 2 member or a student. In any case, with that said, I do want to get into this week's show. We're talking about the audience choice polls for 2024. Now, this is not 100% representative of the audience. So if you're out there and you're listening, you're like, well, those ain't my picks. It's not everybody in the audience. This is only the most enthusiastic members of the audience who actually went to the automationblog.com and voted. So I know a lot of people just said, hey, I'm just going to comment while I'm on LinkedIn, and that's great. But that's not a vote in the poll itself. I didn't actually try to take all the comments from LinkedIn and vote for each of these people. Who has time to do that? But in any case, I do appreciate all the feedback on LinkedIn. And I think I replied to everybody or liked everybody who made a comment. In any case, and I try to do that across, well, let's talk about that for a minute too. Social media 2025, I'm focusing on YouTube, the Automation Blog, and LinkedIn. I'm really not deleting the other channels, but I'm going to take a step back from them. I know the folks over at Locals already know this because I posted it and emailed you guys about that. But in any case, we get virtually zero interaction on those other sites. So we're just going to focus where most of you are, LinkedIn, YouTube, and the automationblog.com. So just wanted to throw it out quickly. But in any case, so I put these polls up in November, earlier this year, to try to get more people to vote. And we had, of course, there was a lot going on with the election and stuff. So a lot of people were distracted in the holidays. But in any case, we did receive thousands of votes in this poll, and hundreds of people went up there and voted. And so I'm going to take the polls in reverse order. We're going to start with the 10th poll and work up to the first poll, kind of like a countdown, okay? And again, please do not be bummed out if your favorite vendor doesn't make number 1. This is just the people who were enthusiastic enough to get in there and vote in November and December. So if you did vote, then you may be very interested in knowing how many of the enthusiastic members of the audience actually voted. So with all that said, let's go ahead and get started here. And we'll scroll up to the first poll. And this poll is going to require me to have my glasses on to read it. And let me see if I can make that a little bit bigger. Okay, so in this poll, it says, please choose up to 3 automation sensor and code reader vendors you prefer the most. So, you know, I was going to include vision in there, but I'm like, you know, I didn't want to make the question too long. So sensors and code readers, and people may be considering vision a code reader or a reader of some type. But in any case, number 1 with 14.3% of the vote was Banner Engineering. I'm not surprised by that because we've had Banner on so much over the years, and they've been just a great sponsor of ours, and you know, they have great products, right? Especially the last one we did with the sensing distances and whatnot. And then following them very close at 13.10 is a company we used to do a lot with. They kind of fell off the face of the earth for us, but we used to do a lot with them, still think very highly of them. IFM, 13.10% of the vote went to them. And then a company we've never done anything with, we've covered them back when I was doing the automation news show, SICK. They came in at 11.9%, and which surprised me because we've never interfaced with anybody from SICK. And so I'm like, well, there must be, I was covering them because I always knew they were a big name, but so it must be something that our audience is interested in. And then from there, we had Siemens. Now, again, this is for sensors and code readers. So again, I was surprised they got up there, 10.71%. And then I'll just quickly go through some of the others. Endress and Hauser, 7.14. Rockwell Automation, 5.95. I am surprised they're so low on the list. Cognex at 4.76. Another vendor I'd love to get on the show. And Turk, somebody we've been covering quite a bit in the news, 4.76. And Datalogix, 4.76. And P&F, I'm really surprised about P&F being so low because they've been on the show a bunch. So P&F at 3.57. So maybe not for sensors, although we have a bunch of samples from them. They've been really good to us. They came in a little bit farther down the list. So now let's go to the next question. So that poll had a total of 39 votes. Okay, so the next poll, we're talking 46 votes. Let's take a look at this. So let's start here. This is choose up to 2 motion control or servo vendors you prefer to use. Okay, and customers could add, with all these polls, they could add additional choices with the other choice poll option. And so here, Siemens, 31.82%. I know we've really grown our European audience, English-speaking European audience, because one of our top videos of all time with over 400,000 views is my S7-1500 video. And I know the 1200 does really good and so on. So in any case, right behind Siemens, though, is the hometown boy, Rockwell Automation, 28.79. Okay, so 31.82 for Siemens, 28.79 for Rockwell. And then B&R, a company that I just think is so interesting, and we'd love to get on the show, 4.55%. Automation Direct, who has sent samples into us, 3.03, tied with Schneider and Horner. We've had Schneider and Horner on the show many times. Great, great companies, great sponsors. But those are, you can see really anybody above 7%, there's only 2, Siemens and Rockwell as far as motion control. And Siemens comes out at top, 31.8 versus 28.8, roughly. All right, so in the next poll we have 68 votes. This next poll is, I got to go all the way up to the top to see the question. This one is choose up to 2 VFD or VSD vendors you prefer the most. And again, they could add other choices to the list that I had. I started with an extensive list. In this one, Rockwell Automation, the PowerFlex, now I separated the lines, okay? Because just because you use a PowerFlex 520 or 52X doesn't mean you use the PowerFlex 75X. So I spent a lot of time digging up all the different models from all the different vendors. And so number 1 was the Rockwell Automation PowerFlex 5.2 series. So the 525, 523, 527 series with 17.78% of the vote. Followed up closely by the Siemens G120, which is at 14.81. And then right behind that is at 11%, the PowerFlex 750 series. And behind them, again, at 8% is the Siemens G220. So you can see Rockwell and Siemens battling there for first place. Definitely the lower end drives are a higher choice than the higher end drives because you can use a lower end drive, a simpler drive in more applications, right? That's my take. Now the next one though surprised me. Never had him on the show. Danfoss at 7.41%, Siemens G130 at 6.67%, and then ABB. Very surprised to see ABB down here at 5.9%. And then the Rockwell Automation PowerFlex 40s, 4s, and 400s at 3.7%. And the list goes on and on. So very interested to see that mix there. And now let me talk about the new show. So what I did is I looked at 2023 and 2024. In those 2 years, I did over 250 shows, right? So that's like 2 a week on average, right? And I looked at how much we made from sponsorships of those shows. I looked at how much we made from ad revenue and how many members signed up after it went members only. And what I found is we need a lot more members to bring that back. So right now we're about 40, let's just say 40 level 2 members. We need actually 240 level 2 members for me to be able to do that and not lose money every show. So just to let you know, the new show is on pause. I already have plans to bring it back. I got a new website. I got all these plans, but the businessman in me is saying, Shawn, you got to have at least, let's say, $2,400 a month. You know, we don't get all of that, right? So if we have 240 members at $10, that's $2,400 a month. We don't see all that. YouTube takes 30%. Then the tax man, you may look at what you pay taxes when you're self-employed. It's pretty high up there, and so on and so forth. So to be able to bring that back, we need 240, and to bring it to 2 days a week, we need 400. Okay, so what I am doing is the weekly membership show that goes through how-tos. I will be continuing to do that, even though the memberships are low right now. I'm hoping that over the year we'll grow the membership, and it'll at least make the weekly how-to show, in-depth how-to show, like the automation show, for members, actually break even. But in any case, and of course, we will have sponsored episodes. Again, I'm talking to vendors about not just sponsoring episodes of the Automation Podcast, but also sponsoring additional episodes of the Automation Show and the Automation Minute. You know, we had Real-Time Automation. They have a new Historian module coming out. So we have another show coming up from them. We've had just so many different vendors over the years, Red Lion, IFM, just so many of them sponsor episodes with us that we want to keep that going. And when the vendor sponsors it, we release it to everybody. So in any case, because they're paying for the filming of it, they're covering the costs. But let's move on from variable frequency drives. Now, this next poll only had 30 votes in it. And this was your favorite. What is your favorite Historian or MES product? Yeah, I guess a lot of the audience aren't using those or choosing those, right, on a regular basis. But in any case, here we can see inductive automation. This surprised me. Inductive automation, not that it's not a good product, but they've only come on the show once. It wasn't sponsored, so the video is now members only. And, you know, for a product like that, you think you want some visuals, right? But, and when they came on the product, they only talked about ignition, SCADA or HMI, whatever. But in any case, they get 25.5% of the vote. So there's a lot of inductive automation fans out there. And then this next one, I have not been able to find somebody at GE to come on the show, but their GE Prophecy Historian, 13.95%, well, let's say 14% in second place. Aviva OSI Pi Historian, 11.5%. And then Rockwell tied at 11.5% is a Factory Talk Historian, which is based on OSI Pi Historian. So if you put those two together, that's 22. That gets you pretty close to Ignition Historian. But I suspect the Ignition Historian number, they're using that with Ignition. They're not using it standalone. Then we had Siemens Process Historian come in at 4.65, tied with Siemens Op Center MES and Emerson Delta V MES and Aviva Historian, the old Aviva Historian and the Emerson Delta V Historian. So all those guys tied at that 4.65%. Very interesting. Okay, the next poll, we had 104. This is one of the most voted in polls. 144 votes in this poll. And this poll is choose the PC-based SCADA software you prefer. Okay, and this one, Ignition and Inductive Automation's Ignition took it away with 49.46%, nearly 50% of the vote preferred Ignition. Love to get that. I've asked them to come back on the show multiple times, so I'm not going to be that nagging ex-customer. But in any case, but that's pretty impressive. And what I thought was more impressive, because we've only covered it a little bit, was Siemens Unified WinCC at 8%. Now, you know, we've covered the Unified HMIs from Siemens. They sent us in some. They sampled them, and then they sponsored the episodes. So, you know, we're just so, you know, when vendors treat us like that, I mean, we can't ask for a better support, right? And but we only really covered Siemens Unified WinCC as part of Siemens SCADA in one podcast. And that got in at 8.15%. That's a fairly new product, right? When we look at, WinCC, just standard WinCC, you would think, yeah, that's been around for a long time, but the unified WinCC is new. Then we have one of my favorite products that I teach on, Rockwell Automation Factory Talk View Site Edition. We have had that team on a couple of times to give us updates on the product, and we'd love to get them back on, but that came in at 7%. So Siemens Unified WinCC, 8%, Rockwell, 7%, and then standard Siemens WinCC, 7%. Aviva Wonderware InTouch, 6.52%. That surprised me. It's so low. And then another Siemens down at 4.35%. So Inductive at nearly 50. Then Siemens Unified at 8. Rockwell Factory Talk View at 7. Siemens WinCC at 7. So, wow, very interesting results there. Let's go on to the next poll. This had 105 votes. And this poll votes, not volts. This poll, please choose your human-machine interface, HMI, hardware you prefer the most. Choose up to 2. And number 1 was the Siemens Unified Comfort Panel. Still, I think that's very surprising. Fairly new product. We had Remy on when it first came out, and was very excited to get one. We had it in the studio here behind me for the longest time. I got to build a new wall. It's just financing, waiting for the financing to make that happen. But in any case, Siemens Unified Comfort Panel, 16% of all votes, over 100 votes, went for the Siemens Unified Comfort Panel. Rockwell Automation Panel View Plus, a product I've been using since beta, 15%. So very interesting there. And then Inductive Automation Ignition as an HMI, 11%. And then I thought this one was very interesting. I think it's WineTech, 7%. We're trying to get them on the show. Siemens older comfort panel, 6.5%. Automation Direct, Seymour, 5%. Siemens Unified Basic Panel, which is very new, 5%. And then the Factory Talk Optics comes in at 4.5%. All right, very interesting. All right, this next poll had 66 votes in it. I feel like I'm saying volts and not votes, so excuse my slang. This is which micro PLC or nano PLC platform you use the most. And you can choose up to 2 here. The Siemens S7-1200 comes in first at 26%. Rockwell's Compact Logics comes at 22%. But, and I put the Compact Logics there because I don't consider it a micro PLC, but I thought a lot of people would. So I put it in there, and they got 22%. But look at this. Rockwell Automation's Micro 800, which I consider a nano PLC, that's how they launched it. That's how they explained it. 11%. So S7-1200 from Siemens, 26. Rockwell Automation Compact Logics, 22. Rockwell Automation Micro 800, 11%. And then the logo from Siemens, 8%. Then we get the Automation Direct Click at 7. Opto 22, Groove RIO, that can now be a standalone PLC, 4%. And now we'll go to the next one. This poll has 61 votes in it. And let's see what the question is. Okay, choose the distributed I/O platform you prefer to use the most. Number 1, with 17.82% of the vote, Siemens ET200 SP. Number 2, Rockwell Automation 1756 ControlLogix I/O as remote I/O, distributed I/O. I did not expect that, right? When I was putting it in there, I'm like, but it came in second, right? 10.89%, almost 11%, followed up by 2 more Rockwell choices, right? Point I/O, which I didn't like at the beginning, but I've become a big fan of. We cover in our courses. We have a ton of it here. 8.91%, and then Rockwell Automation 5069 Compact 5000 I/O, 8.91%. And then Wago's in there at 6.93%. And then we're back with the old 1769 Compact I/O at 4.95, tied with Flex I/O and Flex 5000. So very interesting results there. You can see while Siemens ET200 SP1 as the top choice at almost 18%, Rockwell has the next 3 choices with ControlLogix, Point I/O, and Compact 5000. So very interesting. If you add those all up, they definitely get the most votes in the poll. but none of they have so many options. I'm not surprised they didn't come in. Siemens, I think for in-panel distributed I/O, ET200SP is probably what most people are going to use. If they want machine mount, then they have other options, right? All right, this next poll, this is one of the biggest polls that people voted in, 126 votes. And this one is votes, not volts. This one is, please choose the medium to large PLC platform or PAC platform, because Rockwell calls their PLCs PACs now. And we could get into a long conversation about that, but we're not going to. In any case, large to medium to large PLC or PAC platform that you choose the most. And people could choose up to 2. And so this one I thought was very interesting here, right? So there's only really 2 choices in this category from Rockwell, and they came in number 1 and number 2. So I said medium to large, and we have control logics at 23%, and then compact logics at 17.6%. Very interesting, with a total of, what is that? 30, 40, over 40%, right? Then, following that, we have Siemens S7-1500 at 15.6%, and the S7-1200 at 8.6%. So that's a total of, let's see, 16 plus 8, right? So that's, what, 24? And then that is followed quickly by the Schneider Electric Modicon, the M580 at 7.54, CodeSys 7.04, and then you can see they go down below that, okay? So from there, we'll go to the next poll here. This is the one that got the most, 176 votes. Votes. I don't know what it is today. But in any case, I'll find out when I see how long you guys listen or watch, if you guys enjoyed this lighthearted look at the polls or not. In any case, here we have choose up to 3 of your top industrial automation vendors. Okay? And again, voters could add additional vendors to the list that I didn't have. Number 1, with the most votes out of almost 200 votes, Rockwell Automation with 19, just over 19% of the vote. Number 2, Siemens with just over 15.6% of the vote. Inductive Automation, man, they have a great fan base, right? 4.5% of the vote. Automation Direct, another company that has a passionate following, 4%. CodeSys, 3.53. Phoenix, 3.27. Emerson, 3.27, and so on. So I was surprised about this too. Not about Rockwell and Siemens. I figured they would be fighting it because, they fight globally for the number 1. They fight here. We've tried to get Mitsubishi back on. We tried to get Omron on. They, it's all crickets with them. So, and they're big in Asia, although they have their big fan base here in the U.S. too. I know that. But in any case, Rockwell Automation and Siemens, I figured they'd be fighting for number 1. But I was surprised that Inductive Automation, even though it's only 4.5%, came in 3rd. Although I shouldn't have been surprised. And then to see Automation Direct, which really didn't come in 4th on any of the other polls that I can remember, that they came in 4th place. And then there's a lot of people who only got 1 vote. And again, if you're disappointed that your favorite vendor didn't get more votes, it's probably because you didn't vote in the poll. Because I know there's anywhere from 1,000 to 10,000 of you who consume the podcast every week. And whether it's on LinkedIn, on theautomationblog.com, or on iTunes, or on Spotify. But in any case, hopefully next year, now that you guys are more familiar with the polls and we reviewed them, hopefully next year you guys will be more apt to vote, because I'd love to see, the more people who vote, the more guidance I get. I mean, from this poll, I can definitely see some places where I need to focus both my free public videos and articles, as well as my membership videos and articles. And so with that, we've come to the end of the show. So again, I just want to recap. I am in conversations with a lot of vendors that get them on the show in 2025. If you're a vendor, please contact me. Love to get you on the show. As far as the membership programs, we are going to be I'm personally going to be dedicating several hours every week to produce new membership videos. With those, I'll usually have like a free short tip for the public. But in any case, we're really trying to grow that membership program from roughly 40 members today to 240. So I can really just dedicate most of a day to doing both those in-depth how-tos, as well as bring back the news show, because I kind of miss following the news. I don't know if any of you saw the NVIDIA press conference, was it yesterday or the day before, but they had all those humanoid robots we had been talking about and covering for 2 years. And so I'd really like to get back to doing that. Maybe we just do it once a week to start, but we'll need to get up to make it break even. We need to get up to 240. All we need a sponsor to come in and sponsor the shows. But in any case, I think, a lot of these large vendors have cut back on their marketing budget, and they've decided to do the simple thing, just spend it all with Google. And to me, it's like, yeah, you may get millions of views, but people don't really view the ads, right? We get, millions, 8, 9 million thumbnail views on YouTube every year, but that doesn't mean anybody's even watching, or it's just they're scrolling by it, right? Same thing with ads in a newspaper or ads in a Automation World magazine. I don't know a lot of people actually look at them. I don't. So better the sponsor content people want, like how to use something. That's my opinion. Anyways, with that, if you're interested in the membership, check it out over at theautomationblog.com/join. You can see all the information right there, whether you want to join on YouTube or on theautomationblog.com. And if you are a level 3 member, formerly level 2, and now level 3, join me tonight for the live chat. If you're a student, join me tonight for the office hours. Members, I have posted how to get to the live chat Discord, and students, it's in lesson 111, the link to the Teams meeting. So I'm going to go ahead and end the show here. I don't know if I left anything out, but in any case, hopefully I didn't. So at this point, I just want to wish you guys a very happy 2025. I want to wish you all good health and happiness. And until next time, my friends, peace.